A leadership skill in terms of clarity is the most underrated skill these days.
Okay.
You must have seen many executive coaches talking about leadership, brand building, team communication, team handling, but I have never seen somebody talking about leadership clarity.
I'm talking about stress, which every corporate has. Stress impacts relationships, stress impacts communication, performance. So, how can someone overcome this stress, especially losing a job in corporates? And how does your training help individuals to go through the phase of layoffs?
Where we sit together, frame and structure their goals, what they want from their life, and accordingly bring clarity. The outcome is very simple. You can go out of the program with clarity, unshakable confidence, and conviction that you are living a very purposeful, harmonious, successful life to live successfully without burnout.
Sometimes in life we share so many things. We pay for so many things. Some things that we can't even afford. And there's things out there that bring no value to our lives, but waste our time. But if you came across Nanda, just know that it's not a coincidence. It's just meant to be. Nanda's a person that will connect with your needs, what's been holding you back, what's keeping you stuck, gives you routines that will help you, guide you, and reinforce your mindset, your status, your energy, your aura, and whatever you believe. She helps you connect with the universe, with your energy, keep control of yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. She helps you move forward, think differently, see life differently, enjoy, acknowledge the good and bad. Thank you, Nanda, and I wish you guys to take her serious. God bless.
Dear people, today we are joined for the podcast by Mrs. Nanda Harish, who is a seasoned corporate lawyer and company secretary. Ma'am has an experience of more than 28 years in the corporate field. Ma'am is now working as a premium executive alignment and decision clarity advisor, supporting CXOs, founders, corporate professionals in navigating decision fatigue, cognitive overload, and managing the leadership pressure, which is very important, which is very crucial thing that all the people are looking to learn. And ma'am is a person who believes that performance is not defined by generally working more time or giving more of yourself, but rather than that, it is more on thinking clear under pressure. Ma'am, it's wonderful to have you in the podcast. Thank you so much for accepting my invite. Welcome to the Coffee Magazine podcast. Dear ma'am, you spent more than 28 years in the corporate field, that too in a high pressure corporate roles like legal, corporate governance. Ma'am, what turned you into the leadership clarity and stress transformation coaching?
Yeah. Good morning, Vinod, and good morning, everyone. Thank you, Vinod, and I'm grateful for inviting me for this podcast and allowing me this opportunity to talk about what I do. A very important and relevant question, Vinod. After 28 years of leading in high pressure corporate environments and leading senior professionals from legal compliance and company secretaries, I realized something which is very profound. External success does not necessarily translate into inner peace, calm, and harmony. I have worked with many high performing individuals and professionals from sales, finance, compliance, leadership, etc. While externally and on paper, they are very successful. They have a dream life which anybody will aspire for. But internally, they are constantly struggling silent battle of anxiety, stress, emotional fatigue, resulting in impact on their health, family life, and today I have seen so many of my corporate friends battling the thought, what is next for me after this role? Whether AI will take away my role, whether someone from Gen Z will take up my role, whether my role is going to become redundant. And that is where I've seen that most professionals are unable to switch off. Even on holidays, even on PTOs, they work, they are always available, and they do not have clarity what is next for them. I am also guilty as charged. And when I realized I am doing all of this, I took a step back and I started doing deeper inner work, inner transformation. That is basically regulating my inner systems, my nervous system, consciously changing the way I think from negative thoughts to empowering thoughts, leading with clarity, removing all the noise and drama in corporates. And I was able to lead with clarity and confidence in boardrooms and war rooms. And the transformation was very profound on a personal and a professional space. From being a full time employee now, in last 6 months, I have become an entrepreneur with two scalable businesses and one being in plan. And that is where I thought that while I continue to do law through my law firm, I should give this as an offer to my corporate world. Life Reset with Nanda, a space which is private for corporate leaders where they need not hold everything together. They need not have all the answers. They can be heard and they can just feel safe. The outcome is clarity, unshakable confidence, and performance without burnout.
Wow. These set of everything, all the services, whatever you talked about, all the qualities, what you talked about, every single corporate office needs it for their employees. So that's really, really wonderful, ma'am. So, talking about a leader generally, a leader is a person who manages the entire team. But I presume leadership is temporary because it is selected randomly through a time being performance. So, my question to you is why should a person have a leadership clarity and how can it impact in his corporate role? Since I presume it's a temporary position, is leadership clarity very important for him to cultivate? Please give me a few details about that.
Sure, Vinod. A very pertinent question. You know what? Leadership skill in terms of clarity is the most underrated skill these days.
Okay.
You must have seen many executive coaches talking about leadership, brand building, team communication, team handling. But I have never seen somebody talking about leadership clarity. You know, most of the leaders or the managers whom we work with, right? They constantly struggle with projects, deadlines, closing a sales deal, closing a transaction. They work hard, they have vision, they have strategy, and they have the skill. What they do not have is to be aligned to their purpose. When there is clarity and you know your why and your how, your decisions become more powerful. You can lead with or without authority. Your performance will be without burnout. Your team will exactly know what you need to do, what they need to do, and they are aligned to the outcome. You will build trust and credibility. And most important, you will align the organizational goals to your team's outcome. However, imagine a professional or a leader who feels that leadership is temporary and have got that promotion, but he's constantly struggling to prove himself with more projects, having no bandwidth and lesser visibility in boardrooms and in high profile meetings. It will show as a poor leadership presence. Decisions will get delayed. The manager will constantly think and overthink his decisions and will impact the organization as a whole. I think leadership clarity is a power point in the whole leadership journey of an individual.
Okay. Now I know the importance of leadership clarity, why a leader should have. It's not going to only help him professionally, also to structure his entire career. That is really, really important. Thanks so much for the details, ma'am. And one of your LinkedIn posts, that's really interesting that you said 2026 will not reward most experienced professionals, but it will reward emotionally regulated people. So, talking about that, nervous system reset and thinking pattern reset. This is what you've mentioned in the post. We would love to know what is these things and how can someone build and manage these abilities?
Great question, Vinod. This is the core to what I do actually. Not much is again spoken about it. Nervous system is system which decides how we operate, whether we operate from a place of fear, scarcity, or anxiety, or we operate from a place of feeling safe, expanding, and abundance. See, most of us, when we encounter a problem or a crisis at work or at office, we apply logic, we apply strategy.
We would love
See,
to.
most of us, when we have a problem or a challenge at home or at workplace, we apply all skills, logic, strategy, and that is given. But we do not see how our body is responding. And that is where nervous system reset comes into play. Now, imagine a scenario, a hypothetical scenario. You are in a jungle and you are lost, and you see a tiger coming in front of you, right? You will go into survival mode. Either you will fly, that is flight, or you will freeze. You are not going to fight with the tiger. This exactly response we give at office and workplaces when there is a crisis. So there is an element of drama also, which nature individuals add to all these crises. And that is where nervous system reset comes into play. See, most of professionals who deal with high pressure projects, closing deals, doing sales, or closing a transaction work very hard, but they are not aligned. They always respond or react as if there is a tiger in the boardroom, and not as if, it's a neutral situation where they can respond with intent and not urgency. So, how do we reset our nervous system? That is an important question because I have to give a solution, right? First, you have to regulate your internal responses, regulate your inner thoughts. This can be done simple by daily grounding exercises, daily meditation, doing something which you really love to do. So, see what happens for senior leaders, and even I have experienced it. You go by your identity. I am this VP, I'm this president, but there is a life apart from this identity. Maybe you love to do pottery, you love to travel, you just love to switch off. Start doing those things which you genuinely make you happy and genuinely you feel aligned to your inner self. Third thing is being aware about what drama your thoughts are playing in your mind, right? Like situation may be neutral, but you may be acting and putting all the spices in it and thinking there is a tiger in the boardroom, right? Fourth is replacing your negative thoughts consciously with positive, empowering thoughts.
Ma'am, let's talk about your background for a moment. You are a law student. You completed your bachelor's of laws in Mumbai. You are also working, I mean, you worked as a company secretary in Randstad India earlier, and you were head legal in PayPal. That's a big position. And also you worked in senior positions like senior vice president. I mean, it's a whole 28 years of big experience. It's not an ordinary positions, whatever you served as. So then you landed with Life Reset with Nanda. So please give us a glimpse about what Life Reset with Nanda is and how it's going to help individuals or corporates, build equality or build any kind of talent that is going to help them elevate their career.
Yes. Life Reset with Nanda is a very exclusive, premium, high touch programs for corporate professionals because I've lived their world. I know their universe. And I think that this solution is the best fit for all their problems, right? Senior professionals who are feeling stuck and want to really make a change in their life, want to know what is the next level for them, want to remove fear of AI and redundancy, etc., can reach out to me in this program.
Okay.
This program generally caters to corporate professionals, owners, even organization and leadership teams, and working women who multitask so many roles. This program operates at three levels. One is executive mindset. We work on the mindset of the professional. Each is a customized program because every program is unique and customized to the professional. Second is executive nervous system mastery. And third is executive life direction, where we sit together, frame and structure their goals, what they want from their life, and accordingly bring clarity. The outcome is very simple. You can go out of the program with clarity, unshakable confidence, and conviction that you are living a very purposeful, harmonious, successful life to live successfully without burnout. It is like entering into any room, whether it's a war room or a boardroom. You can read the room, you can own the room, and watch with such high level confidence that you know you can handle any challenge. That is the outcome this program gives.
Okay. I'm talking about stress, which every corporate has. Stress impacts relationships, stress impacts communication, performance. So, how can someone overcome this stress, especially losing a job in corporates? And how does your training help individuals to go through the phase of layoffs?
Yeah. So this is a very sensitive question, and I hope I can respond to it properly. See, losing a job is more than a financial loss.
Okay.
It's an identity crisis. It's an identity loss. When a person has to leave an organization immediately, your nervous system goes into a shock.
Yeah.
Your nervous system then moves into a survival mode. And it is but obvious that people will be anxious, stressed because of their EMI, financial commitments, school fees, and what next for them. Most of the people panic and operate from a panic mode. And it is like the whole identity, which I had mentioned earlier, being that president, vice president, a leader, is immediately dissolved, right? So, here, what the program helps is A, stabilize and regulate their emotional state. Perhaps showing them the picture that this layoff is a blessing in disguise because perhaps they were stuck. So, the first thing we do is to regulate their internal emotions and their internal nervous system so that they can rebuild their self worth and build a more resilient responses to crisis. Once we see that the emotional state is more stable, then we take the next level of strategic thinking, understanding their new goals, what they want to do in terms of a new job, business, etc., etc. Right? And once we know that, we carve out and curate a new identity protocol for them and then confidently communicate to get the new position or a role. And once your emotional state is regulated and you're confident that what has happened as a layoff is actually a blessing in disguise, you don't just get any job, you get the best opportunity and your life upgrades.
Talking about mental exhaustion, that is a common thing that's happening today, and mental exhaustion leads to impaired performance. So, can you please say crucial practices what the young generation should follow in order to face any situation with focus and also to have a strong mind? Can you please give us a few tips on that, man?
Yeah, of course. See, the biggest challenge which I see the younger generations, the millennials especially undergoing, is mental overload. Okay. Their mind is constantly replaying certain conversations at workplace, in relationships, or constantly thinking about a next meeting, a next deadline, or how to handle a client. It's never quiet as such, right? And we have all experienced this at one point of time. That is overthinking and decision fatigue, as we call it. And how can a young professional who's starting up his career or perhaps has got a new role or new professional, expertise or promotion can handle it is reduce the emotional and stimulation that is happening, the mental stimulation. Your mind needs to be quiet, needs a quiet place where they can think clearly. Second, train focus daily. Sit with yourself at least 10 minutes for start to sit and think and structure what you want from your life. How do you handle a particular situation? Third thing, stop or reduce emotional buffering. Instead of avoiding difficult situations, difficult conversations, all of us are guilty of looking at reels on Insta or watching Netflix back to back, right? Everybody does that. But it is important that we sit with our feelings and see how best we can handle a crisis. Third or fourth is awareness what the stress is telling you. How is your body responding to it? Do not suppress the stress, but in fact, understand it. Another thing is consciously replace your negative thoughts with positive, empowering thoughts. Now you will say, Nanda, this is good enough gyan you're giving, but doesn't happen in real life, right? So I tell my clients, when you go for a wedding buffet or a wedding reception, which item you will choose to eat? Something which is your favorite, something which looks interesting, or a food which you do not like, a food which is doesn't look edible. The same way you are in power, not your thoughts. Choose those thoughts that will empower you. Because playing those negative thoughts has not helped you at all, right? Start like the way you choose your clothes to wear, the way you choose the food that you eat, the way you say no to a Karela, say no to negative thoughts, and see how your energy changes. See the responses by your team and your management also change to that. And lastly, but not the least, is regulate your internal nervous system through meditation, taking some time out, be grounded, go and hug a tree and see how calm you will feel. I think this way they will build emotional resilience to handle rejections and criticisms and failures.
Fantastic, ma'am. That's really really true. People are so much engrossed inside the Instagram. They're always scrolling the reels and everything. They are never present at all, and they also get stressed with whatever comes up in the Instagram or whatever it is. Guys, you people must understand that whatever you're seeing in Instagram reels is what they are showing you. It's not their original stuff. So you don't no need to get pressured. It's going to work out, be it in your career, your personal life. Everything's going to be okay if you actually focus, like ma'am said. You should focus your mind on the present thing, present structure, and give time, and gradually you can just come up. So anyways, ma'am, that was fantastic insight. So talking about executive presence in the company, it's really difficult to maintain it consistently, especially in the high pressure leadership roles. So talking about the earlier generation and today's present generation, ma'am, we would like to know who efficiently managed this ability, the executive presence, and how did they do that?
Yeah, so executive presence is not about performing more, but actually it is about having your presence and your energy felt. It is not performance, but it is your energy where you can lead with or without authority, right? And I don't think so. I'm an expert to compare both generations. because both the generations have grown up in different times with different value systems, with different parenting styles. But at the drop of the hat, if you ask me, I would say that my generation and the previous generation have worked on basis of patience, discipline, value systems, and long-term vision.
Okay.
But here I would like to say something, and which I think none of the senior professionals will say, is that if we had the exposure or a platform to so much of information and so much of opportunity, we would have led a different life. Whether it would be good or bad, we don't know. And but today, you see, because of so much of information, there is a lot of speed, there is urgency, incredible boundaries. And I love working with the younger generation because of their boundaries. They're very clear on work life balance. But there is distraction, and this results in inconsistency. They are not able to handle failures, rejections, and setbacks. Okay, so there's a mix of both good and not so good, which they can work on, and few tips on how to build that executive presence. I think the younger generation has fantastic executive presence. I work mostly with people, clients, my coaches who are all the younger generations who are in the early 20, and they have fantastic executive presence. But how to make it more robust is few tips here I can give. One is to slow down a little bit naturally.
Okay.
Speak with intention rather than urgency. Speed is important. I also work with a lot of speed, but intention is also important.
Mhm.
Looking at a long term vision will help. Build inner strength and resilience through meditation, grounding, so you can accept failures and rejections in your life, right? And keep those boundaries high. I think peak performance will come when you lead in this energy that you're very clear and you lead with clarity.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. That's going to really help the young generation as well. Ma'am, so much things you're speaking about corporate trainings or corporate models, entire structure. What kind of corporate training model do you follow? And do you offer one-to-one sessions? Do you offer training at all to anyone who can connect with you? We would love to know more things about that.
Yeah. A correction, it's not a training program, nor it is an executive coaching. Life Reset and other programs are basically very deep transformational programs where we support the professionals on one basis to help them overcome their limiting patterns, beliefs, and lead with clarity and confidence. I also work with corporates, and these programs could be in the form of workshops, workshops for leadership teams,
Okay.
one-on-one programs also. And we focus again on executive clarity, executive performance without a burnout, and strategic life direction, which is very important, where professionals can think about a life beyond their job, and they can switch off during a PTO and during a family time. At the same time, ensuring that while these goals are met, the family and the health aspect also kind of does not go down. Correct. And I can be reached out through LinkedIn, social media, and through referral workshops and programs that I'll be conducting. The idea behind this program is very simple. The outcome which the professionals will have is not only clarity, but confidence, and confidence that they can walk into any challenge that comes in front of them with the ability to think that if this challenge has come to me, it is only I who going to solve it. And I think that matters the most. They can succeed without losing themselves.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. With your permission, I'm sharing all the details in the description, guys. You can find it there. I know you know that. So, anyways, ma'am, it was a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you so much for all the insights that you gave.